Hey everybody, Premier League fans. Boy, what a big Sunday we've got. An awesome Sunday, and I always love how they put every game going on at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm, of course, Jason. He's, of course, Matt. We're going to go ahead and break down all 10 of these game with you here on this episode of Between the Posts. Let's first hear Matt's thoughts, maybe as we go into the last match day. What's going on, Matt? Looking good over there in your Liverpool jersey.
Have to bring it out for the last week, don't I? I mean, they're going to need a miracle. Just like Arsenal's going to need a miracle, and just like Leeds, they're going to need a miracle as well. So three teams, really, those are the ones to circle. Also Burnley as well, but they need something here. And then there's just a ton of matches that there's absolutely nothing to play for, and that generally leads to goals. Better weather, nothing to play for. So this last week generally is a high volume one for me. I've done this now probably the last 3 seasons on this last week. I think it's one of the best money-making opportunities in the entire season. It's a tough league, we know that, but this card here in the last week, match day 38, is it's ripe for the picking.
All right, well, you've got me excited. I've only got one official bets. I've got some leans. I'm excited to kind of hear your thoughts, and maybe my leans will turn into bets over the course of the weekend. If you do hear another guest on our show, got the little 9-month-old down here on the floor, so that's him kicking in with his opinions on today's show. We'll kind of go through these games in order of, let's say, importance. I think there's 8 games that matter. I guess that's really up to your own personal opinion if you think there are some races that are still races, but technically 8 of the 10 games do matter. We'll kind of go through the 2 that don't matter. Then we'll kind of go through those spots for Europa League and Europa Conference League. Then we'll hit the top 4 race. Then we'll go ahead and hit the relegation, and then we'll touch on the title race there between City and Liverpool. So with that being said, let's kick it off with the 2 games that are meaningless. There's only 2. It's Leicester and Southampton. What do we? You just said you see goals. Let's go ahead and get your thoughts then, Matt.
Yeah, I love goals in this one. I mean, Southampton, just look at their defense, really, the last 6 weeks probably. They really are on holiday. They conceded 2 to Liverpool, 3 to Brentford, 2 to Palace, 2 to Brighton, 2 to Burnley. That is their last 5 fixtures. And Leicester, Vardy's coming back into play. And yeah, I mean, look, the only time they kept a clean sheet was against Arsenal, which is just classic Arsenal. They gave up 6 to Chelsea. I mean, they've been conceding so many goals here. So I'm really targeting Leicester here, but I do think that goals just in general, and the thing is, as well as they are taking into account the prices on this one. Like, they're bumping up all the overs. They're going to make them a little bit more juicy than normal weeks here. And it's just basically because there is absolutely nothing to play for. And I do want to say that, I mean, each position in the table, you do get paid a certain amount. So there is always those little discrepancies of, if you get in the top 10, for example, you get a little bit more money than if you finish 12th. So all those little things do matter. But I'm just going to pick on Southampton's defense. I think it's in a really bad way. And I think that Leicester will be able to score. If you look at Leicester's team total over, it's been hit pretty hard. It's now up to over minus 150 on their team total. So I just decided to go a different route, and I went with Leicester to score in both halves. And I found that at a plus price, which made me feel good about it. Plus 145 for Leicester to score in both halves. But yeah, I like, if you want to pivot to over 3 in this one, both teams to score over 2.5 is fine, but I'm just going to really focus on Leicester here. The team total is fine, and I'm just going to go for a bigger price with the plus 145 for them to score in both halves.
Love that right there. That's why I was excited to get your thoughts this week. I've generally struggled, admittedly, with the last match week, and you've obviously got some success. So like that, I was on your same side of the thinking in terms of goals being scored, both teams likely contributing, just because we know Leicester can be leaky as well right there. I think you're right there. The Leicester money line is only at minus 110 at some sports books. I think that's a great price. But goals being scored, I think I'm with you. That was kind of my angle in that game. Some of these in the next game, they were Chelsea and Wofford. I don't have a ton of notes just because I do really have a poor match day 38 record, so I didn't spend my time wasting on meaningless games. But I do like how you add in the point there of there is money on the line here, depending on where you stand. So that is a valid point right there. So let's move over to Chelsea versus Watford. Other than a Chelsea running it up, Is that what we're expecting here? Because that's kind of what I expect here on this one.
Yes, I mean this is the one match. Absolutely nothing matters. Neither team can. They're both cemented in their places. So it's going to be, Hodgson coming into town, and really, this could be his last match as a manager. I don't know what he plans on doing. I doubt he continues with Watford in the Championship, but it's just going to be one of those where
until somebody calls in January and they need another relegation fight and he shows back up.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, he could be the old Sam Allardyce
right.
to get the call. But again, yeah, it's a send off match. And then when you look at the head to heads too, they're all beautiful. The last 6 head to heads between the two, dating back to 2018, but still every single match has seen 3 goals at least. So I'm just going to go with an over 3.25 here at -110. I just think that last match day, they want to put on a good show here at the Bridge and just have a good send off into the next season. So I expect goals. I don't know who they're going to come from. That Chelsea like to spread them around the pitch, but I do think that even Watford could contribute to the score sheet here too. I think that this is like a 3-1, 4-1, 4-0. If it does land on 3, I only lose half my stake.
How much concern do we worry? And I agree with everything you said, maybe about these Chelsea players. And Azpilicueta is kind of a good example of agreed to a Barcelona contract. Now apparently he gets a clause in his contract is triggered due to player performance. So now he's kind of, where is he going to play? You got other players who are free agents, but the club can't re-sign them. Last game, totally meaningless. That's the only thing that put me off. But otherwise, yeah, it's goals and it's get behind Chelsea in any kind of fashion. Touch word.
Yeah.
That doesn't scare you at all?
No, but I do want to touch on some of that just with Chelsea just going into next season. I mean, yeah, Rudiger's gone to Real Madrid. It looks like Azpilicueta is going to go to Barca. I don't know, what's going on at the latest. Marcus Alonso as well going to Barcelona. So they've lost a lot of key pieces, or they're going to lose a lot of key pieces in the back line. And
they can't sign anybody still.
They're going to have to make a huge summer recruitment here for Chelsea. Huge summer recruitment. They're going to sign a couple center backs. I bet they look at Koundé.
I didn't think they were allowed to. I didn't think they were allowed to as long as the sanctions. I didn't think they could sign it.
There's that too. So there's just a huge there's kind of a dark cloud over Chelsea right now. They had such a high last year, winning the Champions League. Performing well in cups. No trophies this season. And then, they're going to lose some players. And there is just, like you mentioned, a dark cloud over the club. So we'll see what happens. But just really on this one, hoping for some Golazzos.
To me, on that one last final thought is they're losing defensive players. The players are getting back on loan are attackers and Brojan and Gallagher. So they're not really, the guys that are coming back aren't defensive players too. So I'd be a little bit nervous. And I think Gilmore's actually coming back from Norwich too. So another more attacking kind of a Conte, kind of Kovacic kind of player. So they're going to be in trouble. They're going to be an interesting watch this summer. Let's go ahead and move over now to where we got a battle for Europa League. Or Europa Conference League. We don't know where Manchester United or West Ham could be. One of these two teams could maybe make a difference here. You got Crystal Palace taking on Manchester United. I like both teams to score in over 2.5. Absolutely love that bet with what Manchester United's got to do to make sure they're in Europa League versus the Conference League with how good Crystal Palace has been. I did not watch the game yesterday as I was watching Villa versus Burnley, but I'm just sure once Everton scored once and the crowd got behind them, it was just a snowball effect. But Palace was really strong based on the stats that I saw there in the first half. I think they'll certainly get a goal, a team that's been better in the first half, or a team that's been better at home all season long. Love both teams to score in over 2.5 here.
I'm right there with you. I'm just going to go with goals. I guess this match does matter a little bit in terms of where United will be playing next season. It's not an easy ground to go to. Palace are unbeaten in their last 7 at home, but this match just doesn't really matter that much. So I think that both teams do find the back of the net, and then it pushes over the 2.5. So I've just gone with a straight over 2.5. Found that in the -130 range.
Love it.
I think that it's fine all the way up to probably the 150 range. I just see both of these teams, going out there and just trying to put on a good performance for the fans.
If I had even had to pick somebody, I actually like Palace on a double chance. They've covered that double chance in 2 of the 3 last head-to-heads. Palace at home on the last match day in front of that fans. Nobody wants to go home as a loser for the next 3 months. I like Palace on that double chance as well to go along with goals being scored in that game. Let's go ahead and talk about the other one here. You got Brighton versus West Ham. West Ham could possibly get up into Europa League if Manchester United wants to slip up and they want to beat Brighton. I know you were on the end of an absolute heartbreaker last week there with Brighton, with Leeds getting that very, very late goal. This one's going to be tough. This one's likely going to be low scoring. If I had to take a guess, we talked about how Brighton's just not clinical. I love their defense enough. Love West Ham's defense enough. I would lean probably under 2.5 goals in this game. What about for you?
Yeah, I just think, I guess it does matter a little bit to West Ham, that's for sure. But, and Brighton are right there in 10th. Both these teams have had solid seasons. Look at the head-to-heads on this one, Jason. I mean, both teams' score has landed in the last 6. You've seen some 2-2s, some 3-3s. So I'm expecting both teams to find the back of the net here, and I do think that this pushes up and over the 2.5, just based on it being the last week. I think that if Brighton can just put one away, I'm pretty confident that West Ham will as well. So I like this over 2.5.
Nice. I like your ankles. I'm definitely adding some bets. You're convincing me here. I like this. Love what you're dropping here, Matt. All right, let's go ahead and now move to the top 4 race. We obviously got a 2-team battle right there. If you believe Tottenham somehow is going to slip up, then I guess we have a top 4 race. But let's start with Arsenal versus Everton. This game seemed exciting until yesterday afternoon, with now Everton no longer having anything to play for other than pride here on the last match day. Arsenal, again, they needed an absolute miracle there by relegated Norwich. Can't see them doing it. I think this game matters of how much is Arsenal going to think that this game matters, because Arsenal falls flat in big spots. Are they going to pump themselves up and think that maybe Norwich can actually help them? Is that then going to heap up too much pressure on them, and then they're not able to even do their job and get in the 3 points? I think they probably will. They probably will pump themselves up, and I think Everton goes ahead and gets a point. I've got this one as a 1-1 correct score. I think both teams will find the back of the net. And I think Everton can play a little bit freer now. I like them in this spot for both teams to score. What about for you?
I don't mind that. This is one that, I would be kind of steering away from, really. Like, I do think that Arsenal win this match. I think that if you're wanting to pick on an angle here, I mean, maybe you're trying to just single out the first half for Arsenal. Say, all right, we're going to come out here. We played absolute doo-doo last week, really, in a huge match. And we're going to bounce back here, and we're going to at least try to apply some pressure at the halftime for Spurs. Like, let's say, Spurs, maybe it's a 0-0 or they're somehow still tied with Norwich. Maybe that's what they need to do. They need to apply some pressure to Spurs with an early goal, something like that to everyone, in the stadium, kind of saying, look, Arsenal just scored, like, we got to go now, type of thing for Tottenham. So,
you know what? I love that angle, because the other side of that is when they go in the dressing room at halftime and see Tottenham's up 2-0, they'll just back off and they won't do anything, and it'll be a freaking boring 0-0 draw for a second half result only. I love Arsenal in the first half. You've got me convinced.
Yeah, I think first half, like, you could even get on, maybe a goal to be scored in the first 30 minutes. Like, that one looks strong.
Love that.
I think that makes, you're hoping that that Arsenal have a backbone, really, and bounce back. So, not a whole lot to love here. Like, this is a huge match because really Everton won this one, and this was like the reverse fixture was a huge, like, upset late on, and that really is what's putting Arsenal. That's one of those matches that they'll look back and they'll be kicking themselves for not making top 4. So, yeah, you're right. Everton can play with a little bit more freedom now, and so it does have me in a little bit of a concern for Arsenal. So if I'm wanting to back Arsenal, I want to do it quickly and probably get out of there.
Wow, I like that. I'm starting to wonder how big my parlay is going to be on Sunday. I'm loving all this information you're giving me here. All right, let's talk about that other team in that top 4 race, Norwich versus Tottenham. I'm not entertaining Tottenham losing at all. I'm entertaining Tottenham just getting the job done and getting it done via a clean sheet, scoring all the goals, whatever it is. I like their team total over 2.5 goals most, because even when they're up a couple, they're going to always want to just put the hammer down on Norwich, put the hammer down on Arsenal, and I'm just going to run it up on them. So I like everything about a Tottenham's team total in this game. Everything about it.
Yeah. I mean, every match in the Premier League dating back to 2015 between these two has gone over 2.5. So, it really just now we were talking about it a little bit off air, Jason, just how what is it, food poisoning now?
Food poisoning, yeah.
I mean, unless like Son's out or something, like I wouldn't be worried. Like I think that Son, he needs to make it there. I think that he's their best player, but I really don't. I'm not concerned about it at all.
Not concerned at all.
Win this match, and they don't even have to though. So like if it's, this is one, like if you're live and you're watching this in like the 75th and it's somehow like tied, like I would probably just bet the draw and just bet like an under spot, because they're just gonna want to protect what they have, but yeah, Spurs qualify for the Champions League.
God, if it's a draw going in the last quarter of an hour, I'll be beyond shocked. I'll really, really shocked here. All right, let's go ahead and now move to the relegation scrap. We've got Brian. He's already commented here on the comment section. Big 2 games here for Brian. Remember, Brian won our free giveaway that if Leeds gets relegated, we put in a $100 bet. At the time, they were plus 195, so Brian can walk away with $195. If Leeds is a team that goes down, Leeds is currently the team in the relegation spot. They're tied on points, but their goal differential is vastly worse than what Burnley is. So Burnley just needs to match their result. First, let's go ahead and talk about what I have in order. Let's go ahead and talk about Brentford versus Leeds. I think they need an absolute miracle. I think with this game being at Brentford is certainly going to be scoring some goals. Just look at it. I equate this to the first match day. And not only the first match day, but the first game of the entire season. It was on the Friday. It was Brentford at home against Arsenal, and I backed Brentford, a new team in the Premier League. I just thought that fans, and their first Premier League game, and I don't know, ever or whatever it had been, I just loved them. I think this is the same spot. Their last Premier League game of the season. They'll be back next season. That crowd's going to pump them up. I think Leeds is in trouble. I think there's going to be a ton of goals being scored. What about for you, Matt?
Yeah, I think that there's goals here. Like, I just don't think that Leeds can keep a clean sheet. I love Brentford's offense too. Like, ever since Eriksen's been there, they're just creating chances. They're winning matches. I think that Leeds are going down. I think that Brian is going to have a nice plus 195 winner here, and definitely rooting for him on that.
I mean, just think about it. Once Brentford gets one goal, Leeds, I mean, they have to go for it pretty much from the onset. But then once they're down 1-0, I mean, it's just going to be a goal fest. They're just going to go back and forth.
It's a goal fest. So I'm not even really taking too much of a look into. I'm just betting blindly, really. I think that this is goals. I think that both teams to score over 2.5 is probably the way to play this. Also fine with over 2.75. Over 3.5.
This is a ladder. This is a ladder match. You know how people talk about ladders?
Yeah.
This is a ladder match.
This is a ladder match. This is an over 2.5, 3, 3.5, even 4.5 could probably be on the ladder. You just want to structure your bet size accordingly. But yeah, I think that this has got goals written all over it, and I think that Leeds are probably still going down.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the other one then. It's Burnley versus Newcastle. Burnley's at home at Turf Moor. I think that is what's going to push them over the line, because the Newcastle team led by Eddie Howe is strong. Boy, did you even see they're going to sign Dean Henderson probably this summer? Watch out for them. They add a couple more with what they did in January. They're going to be fighting for European places next year, like Eddie Howe, like them. But anyways, in terms of talking about this game, I do like the Turf Moor crowd pushing them over. You saw Burnley yesterday. They got super defensive in that second half. They switched to a 5-4-1. They gave Villa the ball. They were good enough. It was sweaty as all get out for them to get that draw, but they managed to do it. There was no Ben Mee in that game. I don't know if he's going to be healthy, but you saw Tarkowski and Nick Pope was obviously enough for them, and certainly Nick Pope is enough for a lot of teams. But I like Burnley to get it done. I think both teams will score, but Burnley's going to get the extra goal to get them to win in over 2.5. So same bet for Crystal Palace United. Both teams are scoring over 2.5 for me.
Yeah, I really like Newcastle here. I just think that they're going to be able to play with freedom. Um, they've got an opportunity to finish in the top 10, which would just be incredible. So I look at Newcastle versus Arsenal last week, and it really asks. It's kind of me in the asking the question to myself: who's going to finish even better next season? Like I know that Newcastle are like 20 points back of Arsenal or whatever, but I think that they're going to bridge that gap quickly. They're going to spend some money, and yeah, Dean Henderson would be a huge get. They're looking at many other players that could really help change this team, and they're they're great on the counter attack. I mean, if they give Burnley some possession here and then just exploit them, I think that Newcastle are in a great way. I think that they at least get a point here. I'm surprised at these odds. I've gone with Newcastle plus a quarter of a goal head start, basically, and it's at -110. It's my best bet of the week.
Boy, we've all got some teams that treat us well. Burnley, don't screw this up, man. You're like my cash cow every season. Don't screw this up, Burnley. Don't screw it up. All right, let's go ahead. Hey, easy down there. Oh, going crazy over there. All right, let's go ahead now and talk about this title race. You've got Liverpool taking on Wolves. I'll go first. You're obviously the Liverpool expert, but let me go ahead and give you my opinion. This is what's going to happen in this game. Liverpool's going to come out in the first half. They're going to be all over them. And then they're going to go in the dressing room and be like, damn, City's up 2-0. They're up 3-0. And they're going to know they've got no chance. Second half subs are going to come rolling in to get ready for the Champions League game. So kind of like how you convinced me to back Arsenal in the first half, I'd only back Liverpool in the first half, and that's all I want. What about for you?
I agree. I think that trying to find an angle, just like in the Arsenal match, like a goal to be scored in the opening 25 minutes or something. Like Liverpool know that they want to probably send a message early to City, saying, okay, we're leading, like you've got to go for it essentially. But it really, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's all about the 3 points. Generally with Wolves, they've got a pretty good defense. So I kind of expect this one to remain tight. But I think that Liverpool end up winning, and there's really not a ton of value here from a betting perspective.
If City is up, let's say 2-0 at halftime, are we going to get 4 of the 5 halftime changes? Are we going to rotate our guys out at halftime, or do we wait till like the 60-minute mark? What do you think Jurgen's going to do?
I would say, they would probably wait to the 60-minute mark, and then there would be a huge sub move. And yeah, I agree with you.
All right, I'm going to be curious about this lineup. I actually got screwed. I thought the game against Southampton was their last chance to maybe close the deficit on the goal differential and give it a go. I don't know what happened with Mane and Diaz. Obviously, it was just a rest. We knew Salah wasn't going to be there, obviously, after the FA Cup. But no Mane, no Diaz was an absolute shocker to me. I don't know. I'm curious to see what lineup he takes out. I think it's going to be the big boy lineup for 60 minutes or 45 minutes at the absolute worst. But I do think you're going to get the big boys for 45, 60 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. And we just don't know what's going to happen really with City. So, I mean, we can talk about that one next because I'm definitely excited to talk about that one.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, obviously, Gerrard wants to help out Liverpool more than anybody else. I can't imagine him doing it. I know the first leg was tight. It was a real good game. I think it was 2-1 finish for City, if I recall correctly. But I can't see City screwing this up. I can't see them getting forward as much as they do and even wanting to give Villa hope that they can crash the party and give a title to Liverpool. I can't see them wanting to give Liverpool any hope that maybe that Villa can do the surprise. It'll be an attacking nature, but I think they'll be a touch conservative, maybe more ball possession, meaningless possession, just knocking it around. I don't know. I'm all on City. I predicted 3-0 on the NBC Sports Predictor app. I think it'll be a relatively easy one.
I don't like that one. I don't like the 3-0. So I predicted this one really well last week, Jason. I said that West Ham are going to they're going to fight. I like the +1.5, but we talked about how when we were talking about it more and more, it was almost like I like both teams to score an over 2.5 more. And you kind of mentioned that. I think that you ended up playing that. But again, that's the same kind of look that I'm looking at here. Like I think that Villa over the top passes against Fernandinho. Now it's going to be Ake and Fernandinho, I believe. Like there's some concerns there. I think one of the best bets, like I think that Villa score. I think that Villa definitely score here. It's just they have to score first so that they can go into full protect, bunker down mode and then try and hit him again on the counter. But I think regardless of how this match goes, like I think that Villa will find the back of the net. I trust in Ollie Watkins, Ings, Coutinho. They've got some really nice forward players. The problem is that City are going to score too many times to make it. It's just going to be like, you scored once. Like we're going to score 3 times minimum here, and that's what I expect. I expect this to be like a 3-1. City take care of business. The problem is that Villa are missing arguably their best defender, and that's what really sucks. And Ezri Konsa, he's had a huge, really last 2 seasons, it's been really solid for him, but he is out. They're fearing an ACL that could be 6 to 9 months, but I don't think it's going to be that. But still, just I really would have loved to have Konsa. Like I would have been interested in Villa like +2. If they had Konsa and Mings, and now it's going to be Chambers and Mings, and I just don't love that partnership enough. But I do think that they have enough going forward to score. This is a both teams to score and City to win at +210. I think it's a really, really good looking bet.
Let me ask you a question here before we get to our official bet. So, do you think Villa is going to score? Do you think so? City generally only gives the opponent, let's say, 3 looks at goal, shots on target. They may get more shots, but nothing really on target. Do you think Villa's going to convert one of the 2 to 3, or do they just get more than 2 to 3? You think they're going to be that much better than most teams?
I think that they'll have
Etihad?
more. They'll convert them. I believe they'll convert one of the chances. I think that they've got clinical forwards that can finish that 1v1 on the break, little stuff like that. But I do think that they'll have a few more because I'm concerned about the Fernandinho-Ake partnership, Jason. I don't think that it's that good. I mean, this is when you see the top teams struggle in this league, is when they have to go to the rotational defense, and it is an issue here. So maybe it is Laporte. Maybe he still makes it, and it's still Laporte and Fernandinho. Even that, they've been getting exposed. They've got exposed on the counter against Wolves. They were exposed against West Ham. And I think that when you stack up West Ham's offense, Wolves' offense, it's very similar to Villa's. So I do think that Villa will score.
All right, I just looked up. It does look like Laporte at least is going to be fit, but I still agree with your analysis. Man, I'm going to reveal our bets. I've only got one, folks, but Matt was dropping some incredible knowledge. You make sure you give me a follow on Twitter. Make sure you give Matt a follow on Twitter. I am adding more to it. The only thing I've got right now for you, though, is a Tottenham team total over 2.5 at +108. Looks like you've got a plethora, and I need to start tailing them all. So what am I tailing, Matt?
So I would say the first one, best bet of the week, would be Newcastle +0.25. I just think that they hang with Burnley. I think that they're better than Burnley. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Burnley. I think that Burnley know if they don't even need to really get a point here. It's all about what happens with Leeds in a sense. Like
it's just match their result, yeah.
Yeah, because they have such a good goal differential on there. And then I just like goals. I really like the overs in West Ham, Brighton, Chelsea, Watford, United, Palace. I like the overs in Leicester and Southampton. I particularly like Leicester's overs more. I like Man City, what we just talked about, and both teams to score +210. And then I didn't hit on Grealish going up against his former club. I think that Grealish has been really in a good form the last month. And even if you were to start on the bench here and only get 30 to 35 minutes, I still like this bet. He's going to have a couple good looks at it. The only one that I would say maybe just wait a little bit on, I would wait on this like Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Spurs moneyline parlay. I sent that in to you before just even hearing some of the what was it? The food poisoning for Spurs, and even you kind of are talking me out a little bit out of Arsenal against Everton. Everton have just nothing to play for, can go at them a little bit. I would be like pivoting more to Arsenal in the first half, like Liverpool in the first half, like those kind of things. So, but I do like Newcastle and the Grealish. I like everything under that. I like it quite a lot.
I want to pull up right quick. I'm wondering what that over 2.5 was in Leeds Brentford, because you talked me through that. I kind of talked myself right into that game. Was that just too
that's
juicy?
One that's not listed. I'm definitely adding that, Jason. Definitely adding that.
You're adding that? I'm just going to get the
Yeah,
price here.
absolutely. That's a both teams to score over 2.5 or an over 2.75 or over 3, whichever way you really want to play it.
Yeah, it's at minus 170, so depending on what your cutoff is, you need to dump in both teams to score, and I'm fine with dumping in both teams to score. Like I said, I think that's a ladder match. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to tail some of those bets. I've only got one, but I like your Palace United one there. I like some of those other ones there. Yeah, let's just keep Burnley in the Premier League. Let's pay Brian $195. Let's also give Matt the quadruple. Come on. Come on, Villa.
Come on, one time.
Come on, Gerard. One time, baby. One time.
One time. This would be an incredible story. I got to say that for sure.
You would be a nervous wreck come that next Saturday if you really got the quadruple on the line. Your girlfriend wouldn't be able to hang out with you. You'd be a wreck.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You're already going to be a wreck because it's a final rematch of 2028 where Ramos was definitely dirty on Salah that entire day till he got him injured. He was out. They were out to clearly take out Liverpool's best player to win that title. Ramos was dirty.
There's revenge in the air, Jason. That's for sure.
All right, one last thing here. Obviously, this is the last show. I want to ask you. I haven't asked you yet. Are we interested in doing a Champions League? I am highly interested in a midweek show all about Champions League. Do you want to maybe put that one together?
I'm absolutely in for that because I think that, in these kind of matches, like the Europa League, I had one, Kamada over a half shot on target for Frankfurt. You dive into those little things a little bit more in these upper echelon one-off matches. Maybe I'm not betting side or total, for example, but we'll have a good idea on who's gonna really impact this match and how to find little ways to bet on these big finals.
All right, Matt and I will talk about our schedule. We'll do Thursday at the latest, but I'm thinking Wednesday, maybe to make sure everybody watches the show in time and get their bets in. We'll maybe target Wednesday, but Thursday at the latest, we'll put together a good Champions League show for you guys. Otherwise, it's Matchweek 38 in the Premier League. A lot on the line, as we just discussed about. Good luck with your bets, as always. And, guys, appreciate the support all season long here on Between the Posts. I know Matt and I greatly appreciate it, and we'll hope to run this show back next season for you guys. All right, enjoy the game, Matt. And, again, everybody, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jason.